Hello and welcome to Radio Linseed, broadcasting to you in pictures from the depth of the Sussex countryside. My name is Derwin Banks. I'm a farmer. I'm a special kind of farmer. I grow linseed, the lovely blue flower you see in the countryside, and when you drive by it you might think that is a lake, and I don't remember seeing one there last year, but in fact it's a field of fat. And I want to bring that into my talk today, which is about yesterday's news. In a lot of the newspapers there were articles about how breastfeeding could save the National Health Service £40 million a year. It kind of looked a little bit like mothers were being blamed for all that problem, but in all the articles that I've read I could not see any reference to nutrition. And obviously nutrition of the mother while she's pregnant is one of the most important aspects of creating new life. In one of my earlier Radio Linseed broadcasts I explained about essential fats and what they are and what they do and how they make the cell membranes. And of course if you're pregnant, that's what you're doing. You're making lots of new cell membranes. And if you actually have a look at that earlier broadcast, it tells you about essential fats. So omega-3 and omega-6 are essential fats, and they come from fish. They also come from linseed and hemp as well. And they're vitally important because of the fact that they make every cell membrane of the body. So when you're pregnant, nature, strange thing, nature is not really worried about you, it's only concerned about the baby. So things like essential fats, if you're not getting the right amount of those into your system, your body would be depleted. And one of the problems that can arise through depletion of omega-3 is postnatal depression. It starts in a small way, and you can see that because they make the cell membranes, these fats are part of the electrical system. So if the cells are not communicating properly, that can start off that depression. So that's one important issue to do with making sure you have the right kind of food. Also, I would say continue to eat lots of fish, oily fish, things like mackerel and sardines. They contain the omega-3 EPA and DHA, but don't ignore the ALA, which comes from linseed. So that's a wonderful omega-3, and its role, like the others, are to produce the hormones that produce the anti-inflammatory hormones, and the omega-6 produces the pro-inflammatory hormones. So you need to make sure you're not getting too much omega-6 into the body through spreads and other kinds of oils. Sunflower, rapeseed oil, corn oil, that kind of thing contain lots of omega-6. The reason for that, of course, is because us Stone Age people had a balance of 1 to 1. So you can imagine if you're putting, say, 10 or 15 times more omega-6, you're giving the new infant an inflammatory start in life. And that is some of the root of all of our illnesses, or a great many of our illnesses can be put down to the beginning of inflammatory conditions. Linseed also is likely to produce a calmer child, because obviously the brain is the biggest amount of omega-3 in the body, and if you're getting a good proportion of that in when you're pregnant, you're going to be building a good brain. Other benefits: linseed can increase the flow of breast milk, and because of its anti-inflammatory properties, you're less likely to get mastitis and congestion and that kind of thing. And I know lots of my customers who are pregnant mothers tell me of the benefits that they have received by incorporating linseed into the diet. I produce 3 or 4 different ways. The oil in particular is freshly pressed and direct from the farm to you, which is really important. You keep it in the fridge and you can put that into your smoothies or into your porridge, or make vinaigrette with it, or mash your potatoes. That's vegan, vegetarian, so you don't need to worry if you're a vegetarian. You can get omega-3 from this plant source. It's also available in the pods for vegetarians, and that's a special shell, so you don't need to worry about that. I also have the one which has a marine gelatin shell, but it still contains my lovely linseed oil. The meal, this is the whole seed, and that is milled up, and it contains everything. It has the oil and the fibre as well, and of course fibre is vitally important to keep the gut operating properly, and linseed provides great fibre for that. So if you like my products and you like the idea, I'd love you to comment. Actually, if you have any comments about what I've had to say, it would be really great to have some feedback. And if you want to buy any of my products, you can go to www.highbarnoils.co.uk. I'm also available on the telephone to talk if you want to have a chat. Thank you very much for listening, and that's the end of this broadcast.